growing up in the Hagen family. That was a big, big family.
It was. I guess my earliest memories were when we first moved over to Parkway Circle in 68, 69. Growing up there, it was a nice neighborhood. I was the baby of six, and I know you know some of my brothers. I'm sure you'll recognize that wasn't the easiest of situations growing up.
I'm sure around the dinner table there was a little sparring because, I've always had not only a great sense of humor amongst everybody, but sort of tend to push the envelope a little bit to get a reaction out of
I
it.
think my mother and father would agree with that statement.
So, what's the pecking order?
My oldest sister is Ellen Bunch. Next in line is my brother David, doctor here in Houma. Next is my brother Jimmy. He worked at Cenac Towing for years. Then my brother Stephen, who had passed away in the early 70s. My brother Pat, as you know, fixture here on the sports show, and then I'm the baby.
First of all, you said you were the youngest of that group. Sort of set a tone for me, because I guess eventually what I'm trying to do is get to what spurred you on to be an attorney, what spurred you on to be an assistant district attorney, and now you're an elected judge who really along the way had some interesting concepts which we'll talk about. But what started that seed, Slade?
I think it was the example my mother and father set. My father was a hard worker. He was we moved here before I was born in 1960. He was the only nose and throat surgeon in 3 parishes. We didn't have emergency room physicians in those days, so it was not unusual. 3 nights a week he was being called out to Thibodeau General or Terrebonne General or St. Mary to go do a surgery for some accident. Yet he always had time after he did surgery in the morning and clinic in the afternoon to stop at the baseball field to watch my brothers and I. And then he was really a hard worker. My mother was too. She was a nurse. My mother was doing home health nursing in the late 60s, early 70s, before anybody even knew who that was. I used to go with her periodically to go take care of elderly people off of Grand Caillou Road. So I think that was instilled in all of us, from my sister all the way down.
I remember seeing your dad when I was young. And I think he invented something back then that is still prominent today. The Hagen wash. Is that what they always call it?
Well, I think the technical term is what they call a Pretz. It was Dr. Pretz from, I'm assuming, the 30s or 40s, where they do a nasal wash. And my brothers still do that today. A lot of the EMTs that come out of residency, that's not taught anymore, but people, especially down here in South Louisiana, hay feeders, etc., they want that immediate relief. So
I would walk out that office going,
right.
you have to lean back.
Right.
And look, it's a weird feeling, but for the next few days, you're feeling
Sure,
good.
sure.
Yes. So, your dad was also an outdoorsman.
He was.
Is that where you picked it up from at an early age?
I did. His passion was duck hunting. I mean, he had a lot of interests. He read a lot. He loved flat art. He loved decoy collecting. But his true passion was duck hunting. And of course, we all went with him through the years, and you were expected to maintain a certain level of grades. And if you didn't take care of your business at school, then when they left on the weekend, you stayed home. So we were very motivated because we wanted to spend time at the camp with our father.
How did he juggle all those personalities? Because I know all of y'all. Y'all got a lot of similarities, but you got a lot of differences. Like I guess my mom and dad did the same thing, but how did he juggle that?
All of my siblings have great senses of humor.
Right.
My brother Jimmy was kind of the card, and he's probably the one that had to keep an eye on, because he could be a little mischievous. Even to this day, he's one of the funniest people that I've ever met. And but we knew when to tone it down, and act right, walk straight.
Yeah, but you've always had a great sense of humor. Did you play off of Jimmy more, your siblings, or did your mom or dad have that? Who had it?
My siblings, or my sister tells me I have my dad's wit, kind of dry. he was really good with the one-liners, you know.
Well, like I'll give you an example. When you walked in, I said, "Nice vest, Judge Hagan," and I said, "I wore my vest. We both have our vests," and you said, "Well, mine's a lot looser fitting." So, and it's that kind of wit that
Yeah.
makes people laugh. So, I remember you all from St. Francis Day Camp for sure.
Yeah.
What kind of impacted that? I know that shaped a lot of us to be at the camp because we met lifelong friends. What did it do for you?
It was great years. I can remember when St. Francis Day Camp, the boys were over at Vanderbilt as that far back. I remember when Randy Bethencourt and Danny Poche, Mo Poche, all of those guys were affiliated as directors.
Timmy Mackerel.
Yeah, and I went there from when I was first eligible, I guess 6 years old as a page, all the way through, and then after that, a few years, I was a counselor. So it was just a great place for the summer where the parents could send the kids and they didn't have to work. And we did a lot of things. We would walk to the old Park Theater and go watch a movie on Friday.
Yeah.
You know, I saw it was a Munsters Go Home, you know, 12 years in a row over there. So
I remember as a counselor, I would get an envelope every week working there. You'd open it up and there's your $30 cash, and you go, hit the jackpot.
right,
And then you look back and you go, but it wasn't about the money.
right.
It was about the learning experience.
But you know, in the early mid-70s, you made $25, $30 a week, and had fun doing it with kids and playing ball. That was a great job.
And I remember the camp had 600 or 700 people.
I think at the maximum, probably around 800. That's how big it had got. Yeah.
And you go to Legion to swim.
Yeah.
And bring your lunchbox
Yeah.
every day, and they give you a soft drink.
Right.
And you were lucky if you got there and they still had orange drinks back.
Right.
If you got an orange drink, your day was real good.
Right. Right.
So how did that set the tone? And when did you start sensing? Some people that come on this show say, "Martin, I knew when I was 10 that I want to be a doctor. I knew when I was 15 I want to be an attorney." When did you know you were leaning towards legal?
You know, when I started Nichols in '82, my brother Pat was 2 years ahead of me, and I can remember vividly walking on campus to go make my schedule, and he said, "Well, you want to study?" And I said, "I'm not really sure." He says, "Well, why don't you do pre-med?" I thought, okay. So I ended up enrolling in pre-med and graduating at the end of my 4 years, and then worked for about a year in New Orleans. I think about my senior year, I kind of realized that I didn't necessarily want to go into medicine. I always had an interest in politics locally, nationally, and then probably 6 months after I graduated, I was at a friend of mine's house in Thibodeau, and his wife was sitting there filling out some paperwork, and I said, "Well, what you doing?" And she says, "I'm filling out this paperwork to go take the LSAT." What's the LSAT? Well, it's the entrance